In Genesis, the first book of the Old Testament, we find the following sentences. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, Let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. Before the creation of the universe, there were two things, darkness and waters. Here we see a logical consequence that the Creator God was with them, which existed before the creation of the light. As the scientists of today infer, God has created the light through the Big Bang around 13.7 billion years ago. So God dwelled in darkness at that time. The ancient King Solomon has once said, the Lord said that he would dwell in the thick of darkness. The once wisest king of Israel has built nearly 3,000 years ago a fine, magnificent temple in Jerusalem, which has been dedicated to God. He knew, however, that the Lord doesn't want to dwell there, since he would dwell in the thick of darkness. Then we would raise a question, what is the thick of darkness? According to the proportion of the universe composition, the luminous part of the universe, our galaxies, stars, nebulae, etc., consist of 4% of the whole universe, and the other part of the universe is occupied by the dark matter, 22%, and the dark energy, 74%. The space in which God would dwell is so huge that nobody could reach there as a sole mankind. In Genesis, we find the further sentence, God divided the light from the darkness. Now, we understand that the quantity of the light is only 4% of the whole universe, and the other part remains as the darkness. If God dwells in the thick of darkness, it means he would be with the darkness, dark matter, and the dark energy. Thus, it's obvious that the Creator God dominates the world of light through the darkness. The providence of God, through which the universe is reigned, is a great secret and mystery due to the unknown dark matter and unknown dark energy. God created not only the luminous stars and galaxies, but also the dark matter and the dark energy. As we've already seen that the proportion of 96% of the universe is the darkness. The Creator obviously dwells there to rule the luminous universe. In this survey, the darkness of the universe will be explained, presenting the recent reports of the dark matter and dark energy, and thereafter their roles for the universe. As a conclusion, it will be clear that the dark matter and the dark energy might be the tools of God reigning the whole universe. The grandiose reign of God's providence will not be the luminous universe, but will be the darkness of the universe. The comparison of the light interpreted as wisdom with the darkness interpreted as foolishness are nowadays a prejudice and a misunderstanding for us. The darkness is the womb of all things. The whole luminous universe could be a protection and under cultivation there, and grown up as well as the mother's womb is doing for the embryo. The ancient Greek philosopher Parmenides said about meon not being, the meon in Greek language is for him not a simple negative form of the on, the Greek language being. It means more or less the emptiness where the dark matter and the dark energy could dwell. The understanding of the God's providence should be the understanding to the darkness of the universe. The Swedish philosopher Emanuel Swedenborg had said at his work, Divine Providence, as follows. The universe with each and all things in it, was created from divine love and divine wisdom. Divine love and divine wisdom proceed as one up from Lord. The luminous universe has been created from divine love by divine wisdom, which is dwelling in the darkness. The dark matter might be the divine wisdom, and the dark energy might be the divine love. Both proceed as one from the Creator God. The dark matter constrains the luminous universe, and the dark energy repels the whole universe, both the luminous and the dark. Divine love and divine wisdom are latent, since they are the properties of the darkness. Jesus Christ has taught to his disciples, "But when you give to the poor, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving will be in secret, and your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you." When our giving will be in secret, and our Father who sees what is done in secret will reward us. What does it mean? The reality of love and wisdom should be done in secret. Even the left hand may not know what the right hand is doing. The Creator God is ruling the luminous universe in secret, so that the dark matter and the dark energy should have been in action. However, nobody could see it. Isn't it the divine love? Isn't it the divine wisdom? Swedenborg says the universe, with each and all things in it, was created from divine love by divine wisdom. To comprehend the divine providence from the darkness is the main interest of this survey. Dark matter and divine wisdom. Where the Creator God dwells is the thick of darkness. Today, it's relevant. There are two components in the deep darkness of the universe: dark matter and dark energy. Since the last 8 years, a new paradigm has been closed up among the astronomers and the astrophysicians: the dark matter. The name has been given by the Swiss scientist Fritz Zwicky in 1933. He has measured the velocity dispersion of the galaxies in the Coma Berenices constellation, which has 350 million light-years distance from the Earth. He found that the velocities in mass-to-light ratio exceeds extremely highly in comparison with the expected velocities of the luminous matters in those galaxies. The galaxy rotation velocity could be measured using the Doppler color shift. When the galaxies approach to us, we would see the blue shifted. When the galaxies become more distant from us, we would see the red shifted. It's the Doppler effect. The visible color wavelength could be analyzed through the telescope spectrograph. Fritz Zwicky used such a Doppler effect to measure the velocities of the galaxy cluster. As a result, some invisible things became aware to him. His research work on the masses of the nebulae and of clusters of nebulae has been published in the Astrophysical Journal. There, the very important invisible criterion, which has been detected by him, has been mentioned with the name of dark matter. Thereafter, many publications for the existence of the dark matter came out in the field of the recent astronomy. The evidence for the existence of dark matter in M31 Andromeda Galaxy, for instance, became on the basis of the research to the rotational velocities, a famous and well-acknowledged concept. Today, the existence of dark matter is not to doubt. Franz Kahn and Ludwig Volger estimated in 1959 the mass of the local group galaxies, in which our Milky Way and Andromeda are the important dominant members. They used the gravitational lensing observation method. The picture above explains the gravitational lensing. The bending of light raised by gravity can also tell us the clusters or galaxies' mass. The cosmic phenomenon, gravitational lensing, has been detected firstly by Fritz Zwicky in 1937. He was a pioneer who knew that the gravitational lens effects could be used to measure the mass of galactic objects. Isaac Newton knew already the notion that gravity can bend the rays of light, but Zwicky has found such a cosmic phenomenon after observing the galaxy clusters. Kahn and Volger have concluded the most mass of that local group based on the dark matter. The hollow areas of those galaxies consist of dark matter 10 times larger than the luminous matter. The American woman scientist Vera Rubin has explained the existence of dark matter in her theory of the galaxy rotation problem. Dark Matter in the Universe, 1970, she has published her thesis. The dark matter is scattered in the whole universe and consists of 22% of the composition. Meanwhile, the luminous matter consists of only 4%. The following picture explains that the visible luminous matter of galaxy lies deep in the heart of a large hollow of dark matter. The dark matter hollow has really a womb shape, and the luminous matter looks like an embryo in that womb. The dark matter bears, protects, cultivates the luminous matter independently from the expansion of the universe. All galaxies and all clusters are surrounded by the dark matter without any tiny exception. Dark matter constrains the visible luminous matter of the universe, like the picture above. The dark matter has own proper mass, but it neither emits nor absorbs the light, but it affects the rotation velocities of the galaxies and the clusters. Even the universe is expanding. The stars, galaxies, clusters, nebulae, etc. don't let expand themselves. Otherwise, the solar systems and the planets could be enlarged due to the expansion. However, the dark matter constrains the visible luminous matter, which have been created by God through His Logos. Since the dark matter contains the Logos of the Creator God, it would be a divine wisdom. The picture below explains the various galaxies and clusters wherein the luminous matter must have been surrounded by the dark matter. The Logos of the gods should define the fate of the universe. As a divine instrument, the dark matter could slow the expansion rate of the universe. The density of dark matter affects the fate of the universe, since low density leads to accelerating expansion and high density leads to big crunch. The dark matter density affects, on the other hand, the geometry of a universe, since low density leads to open universe and high density leads to closed universe. Current measurement of dark matter density indicates a flat universe with accelerating expansion. A new axiom: God defines the density of dark matter in order to keep the universe infinite. The nature of dark matter. In the universe, there exist two kinds of matter: mysterious dark matter and normal atomic baryonic matter. Since the dark matter neither emits nor absorbs light, it could be detected only through the gravitational influences. Baryonic matter is a particle physics classification of matter made of atomic nuclei composed of protons and neutrons. It is the ordinary matter that makes up the stars, planets, gas, dust, and other bodies. Shortly after the Big Bang, The baryonic dark matter was about 5 times more abundant than baryonic matter in the early universe. It's sure that there are huge amounts of dark matter lurking in the universe. The rotation curve of spiral galaxies provides the evidence of this. The spiral galaxies consist of a central bulge and a thin rotating disk. The velocities of the rotation curve could be measured by Doppler shift system as mentioned above. Vera Rubin is a specialist of this kind of measurement. There is a giant elliptical galaxy M87 at the center of the Virgo galaxy cluster, which was 54 million light years distance from the center of our Milky Way galaxy. The dark halo of M87 appeared to be surrounded by the substantial amounts of invisible matter, that is the dark matter. It was very early on. There were no galaxies, no stars, no clusters, no planets, no nebulae, etc. The universe immediately after the Big Bang was filled by a gas of subatomic particles at one extremely high density and high temperature in form of plasma. We call it as quark-gluon plasma. Recently, the research team of LHC CERN has approved that the quark-gluon plasma is not gaseous but colloidal. Thus, they called it quark-gluon soup. Here, we could imagine the pre-existence scenario of waters as written in Genesis of the Old Testament. After the quantum inflation period, the universe began to expand in huge speed, so the energy density dropped and the cosmic plasma began to cool down. During the first 3 minutes after Big Bang, the universe had so extremely cooled down that the baryon synthesis had begun and shaped H hydron, He helium, Li lithium, and the Be beryllium, etc. This epoch of the universe is called as nuclear synthesis at around 240,000 years after the Big Bang. This early universe had reached a sufficiently low temperature, around 4,000 Kelvin, to allow protons and electrons to form neutral hydrogen. Such a status of the early universe we could know from the information of the cosmic microwave background radiation, CMBR, which is well known to us as the afterglow of Big Bang. At this stage, the baryonic dark matter has been already formed like the 3 quark system, which is familiar to us, for H, He, Li, Be, etc. The James Webb Space Telescope, which will be launched in 2018, could give us information about the fluctuation of the dark matter density during the dark age of the early universe around 200 million years after the Big Bang. The measurement of the dark matter density at this period, Z equal 20, could deliver us a definitive clue how the expansion rate of the early universe has been evolved. If we could get the clue, the future fate of our universe could be predicted. The picture below explains the 4 models of the fate of the universe. 1. Recollapsing universe. 2. Critical universe. 3. Coasting universe. 4. Accelerating universe. The accelerating universe is currently favored. But some scientists predict the pessimistic doomsday for the fate of the universe. For example, the recent Chinese cosmologists infer Big Rip as the fate of the universe. The Chinese Academy of Science published 2012 an article wherein saying as follows. For example, for the worst situation, namely the 95.4% CL confidence level, lower limit, The Milky Way will be torn apart 32.9 million years before the Big Rip. 2 months before Doomsday, the Earth will be ripped from the Sun. 5 days before the Doomsday, the Moon will be ripped from the Earth. The Sun will be destroyed 28 minutes before the end of the time. And 16 minutes before the end, the Earth will explode. However, from what we already know of the dynamical properties of dark energy, one thing is all very clear. We still have a very long future ahead. Since God created our universe with love and wisdom, such a big rip couldn't come even in far distance of time, some hundreds millions years later. The fact that the universe expands means the universe grows larger, whereas the density of dark matter decreases. How is it possible? Dark energy has the property that its gravity becomes repulsive. This negative pressure against the gravity has a consequence. The influence of dark energy becomes ever greater as the density of dark matter diluted. The well-balanced action of the 3 components of the universe, ordinary matter, dark energy, is the everlasting grand work of God created by His great wisdom. Opus Dei. Ordinary baryonic matter 4%, dark matter 22%, dark energy 74%. Unless this proportion is changeable, the expansion of the universe could not indicate a big rip as a final fate of the universe. Einstein's general relativity predicts already that the universe should expand. When the galaxy distance is measured with the redshift Doppler system, we see the expansion of the universe is actually happening. The cosmological constant, lambda, is an explanation of the acceleration of the expansion rate. This agrees with the type IA supernova distance versus redshift measurements and omega and lambda from 42 high redshift supernovae. The CMBR, cosmic microwave background radiation anisotropy, explains us that the universe is flat, and the total density is equal to the critical density, which also implies flat geometry. The expansion age of the universe is older than any of its contents. Dark matter, which does not interact with photons, begins to clump at the epoch of radiation matter density equality, which occurs before baryons and photons decouple. This gives gravitational collapse a head start, so that the density of galaxy today matches the density of the universe at the decoupling. There are 2 possibilities for dark matter, hot and cold. Hot dark matter, HDM, particles are almost massless and have average speeds close to that of light. Cold dark matter, CDM, consists of massive particles and has speeds which are slow compared to light. In order to get the good fit between the density of galaxies today and the density of decoupling, it must be assumed that the dark matter is cold. Thus, the standard model of the universe is called lambda CDM. That is, the universe consists of cold dark matter with something very much like the cosmological constant, Einstein's lambda, which must be called dark energy. Einstein was a great astrophysicist who inferred the existence of dark energy as a cosmological constant. At that time, the dark matter and or the dark energy were quite strange terms among the scientists and philosophers. Stars, galaxies, clusters are complex systems. They are formed by the superposition of different stellar components like bulge, thin disk, thick disk, bar, spiral arms, stellar halo, spheroid, etc., plus gaseous nebulae, dark matter, and dark energy. A certain successful galaxy formation model should be able to explain the formation mechanism behind each one of those different components. The stellar components combine and interact with each other to form the main galaxy itself or cluster. The satellite population orbiting around them are the key components that should be explained by a successful model. Nowadays, the lambda-cold dark matter, lambda CDM, is a standard model of Big Bang cosmology. Einstein has inferred already the existence of cosmological constant lambda, which is interpreted today as a dark energy. His idea of general relativity is a correct theory of the expansion of the universe and its acceleration. The lambda CDM is the key solution for the divine providence, how to reign the universe in the coordinate of infinite space and eternal time. Is the accelerated expansion of the universe the providence of God? What's the divine purpose of it, then? Since when the universe began its expansion, and why the expansion had to be accelerated? Today's astronomers, physicists, and particle scientists don't give any answer to these cardinal emerging questions. God created the universe in the formation of a grand phenomenon, infinite in space and eternal in time. For this purpose, it was inevitable that the universe should be expanded and accelerated. The grand cosmic harmony and the grand mystery is the correlation between the dilution of the dark matter density and the enhancing property, in which dark energy enables to do the repulsive gravity. The James Webb Space Telescope will have an important mission to clear how was the composition of the universe at the time of the first star and galaxy formation. Was the proportion of dark matter and the dark energy the same as today's universe composition, like 22% and 74%? The dilution rate of the dark matter density and the strength rate of the dark energy property for the repulsive gravity might harmonize from the very early universe for the expansion and acceleration. Then, the correlation between dark matter density and the dark energy property should be an important clue for the accelerated expansion of the universe. In the Old Testament, there is a book of Job, which has been written 3,500 years ago. There, we could find the following sentences. Can you find the cluster of the Pleiades or lose the belt of Orion? Can you bring out Mazzaroth in its season? Or can you guide the great bear with its cubs? Do you know the ordinances of the heavens? Can you set their dominion over the earth? At the beginning of the book, we learn that Job was a man of renowned greatness who would have studied heavenly star constellations, but he could not answer God's questions about them, nor did he understand the ordinances of heaven, most likely meaning the laws of the universe, for the origin of which modern science has absolutely no explanation. But Job was being forcefully reminded that these ordinances are the work of a super-intelligent creator, God Almighty, the Lord of heaven and earth. He was the very one who was addressing his servant Job. David, the sweet psalmist, began Psalm 19 with the words, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork." View the starry heavens on a clear night when there is no moon, and try and find a spot well away from city street lights, and ours will be a glorious and unforgettable sight. both Job and David had not the slightest doubt that an all-wise God was their creator. Truly, the more one looks at this heavenly glory and understands the immense distances involved in constellations and galaxies, the more one is driven to the same conviction as Job and David. All this magnificence, held together by universal laws, can only be the work of Almighty God, the loving and all-wise Creator who speaks to us in His scriptures about salvation.